You are a Directorate General for Health and Food Safety. Why do you think that digital health is so relevant, and what its potentials are?
For me, I have seen the digital health from the digital perspective when I was dealing with ICTs, and I see it now from the health perspective, being in charge of the health portfolio. The expectation on digital health are huge, because it's a complete reshaping of health systems and healthcare delivery. I mean, we really see it as a response to a lot of the challenges that the health systems have. You can provide the possibility of providing healthcare without having patients to move. You also have, this huge opportunity to reform the health systems by sharing data between doctors, having more collaborations between doctors. You can move from a system which is based on hospitals to a system which is based on communities, which would be much lighter in terms of financial needs. The expectations are huge. The delivery is complex, but the promise of the digital health is really a very great ambition.
What are the priorities of the European Commission about digital health, and what are the actions undertaken in this field?
One of the objectives was to ensure the continuity of care for patients. That was implying that we have exchange of electronic health records across border. So we developed an infrastructure for this, and we developed, we work with the member states in a structure which we call the e-health network, which is allowing this setting up this exchange of electronic health records. And we hope that by 2022 we will have more than 20 member states engaged. Has to do with interoperability, which is a prerequisite. It's very important that national systems, when they are built, they incorporate interoperability requirements to make sure that they can talk to each other. We have a recommendation on standards for exchange of data. We want to create European health data space. And this European health data space, which will pool health data across border, will help to meet one of the objectives also which we have, which is to make sure that we can reduce the health data for the benefit of research and providing better therapies.
What do you think that we need to establish Europe as a world leader on digital health?
Establish Europe as a world leader in digital health is a huge challenge. We have a very strong industry in the area of health. And the health sector is a huge asset in Europe because we have a very big public sector in health. We have universal health coverage. We have health systems which are publicly financed. So we have the possibility of leading the development of the digitization of the health systems and organizing the profession and the health systems to match these requirements of the digital transformation. So I think it's really an area where we can be world leaders. And, but of course we have to overcome fragmentation, but we also need to be able to solve the issue of generally governance of this digitalization of the health system. And the governance means that we have to be able to work with health data, to respect privacy of health data, but at the same time to allow for the reuse of the health data for research or for treatment. And this has to be done in a way which is coordinated, even harmonized.
Working towards digital health care system requires strong collaboration between makers and the shapers. How do you see the shapers and the health industry working towards a digital health Europe?
The cooperation between the different stakeholders in shaping digital health is fundamental, and it will require that we get everybody around the table: the industry, the patients, the hospitals, the labs, the public authorities. We have a health stakeholder group, which includes more participants and also industry and also patients. So how we will collect these very decentralized health data which are produced by industry in clinical trials, by hospitals which take care of patients, by labs, or by doctors who follow patients on a day-to-day basis. And therefore, for this, it's fundamental that we agree with the different partners on how we're going to manage this data. And the governance which we will need to federate the different data spaces on health.
So for you, what are the 3 calls for actions towards SAPers for a stronger digital Europe?
At the current juncture, it could be 3 calls for actions. I mean, it's fundamentally is that there's a shared understanding that we are in a revolution. We're in a big data revolution, an artificial intelligence revolution, and it is a shift in the paradigm for the way we organize health. So it's extremely important that people cooperate to shape a system and think of the long-term objectives, and that people do not start everybody in his own area to develop things without thinking of the global architecture of the health systems once digitized.
The medical system based on digital transformation should ensure that the data has enough data protection, and this is of course a risk. How does GDPR fit? We should see it as an impediment or it's an opportunity?
If you ask me, I mean, it's more than an opportunity. I mean, it's when the GDPR has been adopted, it has basically set very high standards for data privacy in the world. It has becoming a benchmark and a reference. So it's quite an important milestone in the digitization process in general of society. And the GDPR is, as you said, also very important for health. I mean, it has brought a clarification in the health area, which is quite new, which is that the health data belong to the patient. So once you have made this very clear, I mean, the whole healthcare system had to implement it. It's quite a sensitive one, but it will be for the benefit at the end of everybody in terms of protecting the patient's rights on privacy and giving the opportunity for all the partners in research and industry to really benefit from this access to more data.
For using technologies in order to access digital health systems, that needs, of course, skills.
The curricula of the health professionals, the doctors, the nurses, do not include this digital component. And they are more and more aware that this is something which would need to be included in the curricula of the health professionals if we want them to be able to get the proper information to the patient, but also to be able to use all the facilities for their own practices of diagnosis, of bringing the right care, and of also being able to contribute to research. So it's one area where we need to really work jointly with a lot of training institutions to see how we can organize this. And it's a very important topic for us.
So thank you so much for sharing with us your comments. I have enjoyed listening to you about your view of the digital health sector from the point of view of Shaper.
No, thanks very much to you for giving me the opportunity.